I was just speaking recently on one of my little videos about the wisdom that comes from heaven and the example of Stephen in Acts 6. And out of this little series about the book of Acts, I want to just read a little bit more, the second part regarding Stephen and some of the things that happened to him. And so it talks in Acts 6 about Stephen. He's coming under opposition and a real terrible treatment really by those who are Jewish from the synagogue of the freedmen, particular group of Jews, and they couldn't stand up against the wisdom that he had. They couldn't kind of challenge it because it was a real wisdom from God. But then it says in verse 11, Acts 6, verse 11, then they secretly persuaded some men to say, we've heard Stephen speak words of blasphemy against Moses and against God. Verse 12, so they stirred up the people and the elders and the teachers of the law. They seized Stephen and brought him before the Sanhedrin. They produced false witnesses who testified, this fellow never stopped speaking against this holy place and against the law. For we have heard him say that this Jesus of Nazareth will destroy this place and change the customs Moses handed down to us. All who were sitting in Sanhedrin looked intently at Stephen, and they saw that his face was like the face of an angel. And I find that incredibly powerful and amazing, really, that this was a man not only full of God's wisdom, a man who's falsely accused of things as well, which, a real fabricated story. They didn't have good grounds to accuse him, so they kind of created accusations which were totally unfair. And as they looked intently at him, it says they saw that his face was like the face of an angel. The glory of God was on this man in incredible ways. And I think one of the things that, Acts talks about is stories of people like Stephen. We often focus perhaps on major characters like Paul and Peter, especially Paul, obviously, in the book of Acts. He's very much part of the central narrative. But it's easy to overlook some of these other folks. And Stephen was an incredible guy. And there's a depth of wisdom, there's a depth of character, there's a depth of integrity with him. There's something about him that is deeply moving and challenging, very, very, very powerful in terms of his testimony to these people and to a situation that was very adversarial, very, very hard for him to be in. And so I just want to pray actually that God's glory will be on us, whatever the challenges and the things that come against us, whatever the false accusations that come against us, that we would have the confidence and courage to stand, that we'll be the kind of people that God uses to stand in the midst of great challenge and great adversity, and that our character will be the thing that shines out, that who we are in Christ will be the thing that shines out most of all, over and above everything else. I really pray that for all of us, that be true for us today, this week, in these days to come.